be opposed to any of these things?
For small businesses, this is a huge issue, economic driver of local communities throughout our nation, and certainly that is the case.
Is Big Pharma really going to be sweating?
In terms of what are the rules, what are the regulations, what are we going to allow in terms of research and development?
Is that grassroots efforts are so much more effective. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Gains for Girls podcast. Make sure you check us out at youtube.com/OutKick. You can like, comment, subscribe, never miss an episode. Share these episodes far and wide. Share them with someone who needs to hear them. Today's episode, we are going to be talking all things small business, entrepreneurship, weirdly enough, how that intersects with the MAHA movement, the Make America Healthy Again movement. We saw a lot of news over the past really few weeks, over the past 7 days of coming from RFK, coming from Brooke Rollins, coming from President Trump himself surrounding making America healthy again. So we're going to get into all that today. But before we do, I want to tell you about today's sponsor for this episode. It is Cozy Earth. Look, after a long day, whether it's work, whether it's travel, whether it's exercising, whatever it is, there's one thing that I look forward to, and that is my Cozy Earth bed, especially now that I am pregnant. It is more than just sleep. It is a retreat. It's a reset button. And let me tell you, once I tried their ultra soft bamboo sheets and their cuddle blanket, I just got their cuddle blanket in the mail. It's like this big, heavy, fluffy blanket. Obviously, it's August in Tennessee. It's still hot. It's still humid outside. But we are slowly transitioning to fall. I cannot wait until it gets chilly outside and I can wrap up in this blanket. I'm going to have, me and my husband, we're going to have our baby girl in just a few short weeks, which is crazy. So we'll all be able to wrap up in it together. Being in that setting, let me tell you, I don't think about anything else. It's breathable. It's luxurious. It makes my bed feel like a 5-star resort without the checkout time, by the way. So if you want this, again, those mornings where you can't get out of bed, where you crave to get into bed at night, go to CozyEarth.com. You can check it out. They have a 100-night risk-free trial and a 10-year warranty. So you won't need it. It's nice knowing you have it, that they've got your back. Go to CozyEarth.com, use my code GAINS, GAINES, for 40% off. And if they ask, tell them that you came from Riley from the Gains for Girls podcast. We're talking today to Karen Kerrigan. She is a certified health and wellness coach. She is the founder of Steps to Wellness. She is the president and CEO of Small Business and Entrepreneurship Council, SBE Council. Very excited to get into this conversation with her today and to hear specifically how a lot of the things we're seeing from the Trump administration as it pertains to the big, beautiful bill, as it pertains to things like eliminating and terminating 22 mRNA contracts. We just saw that from RFK this past week, how that affects small businesses. So if you want to hear all that and more, check out this interview here. Well, Karen, welcome to the Gains for Girls podcast. I am so excited to have you on the different things that we are going to get into today. But before we do, will you just take a brief moment and tell us a little bit about yourself, your role, and how you got involved with where you are? I think specifically with the MAHA movement, a lot of the meat of what I want to talk to you about today.
Of course. Well, I run a group called the Small Business and Entrepreneurship Council. And we're an advocacy, research, and education organization dedicated to promoting entrepreneurship, protecting small business. And I actually founded this group more than 30 years ago. So I've been at this for quite a long time, Riley, and focusing on the range of issues that impact entrepreneurship, healthy startup activity and small business growth, taxes, regulation, the cost of healthcare, technology, intellectual property, the whole range of issues. And have very much focused on, since our founding, the healthcare issue and access to affordable healthcare. And I mean, that's always been a critical issue for small business owners and their employees. And, along the way, we've always noted that, in order for businesses to have, individuals to have access, and for order for entrepreneurs to be able to be disruptors in the system and to be creators and to provide goods and services that match the needs of the marketplace, that you do need less regulation, that the government has to get out of the way, that it has to be, sort of promote entrepreneurship in this whole sector. So that's one piece. I've always been big in the health and wellness, space as an individual, as a former athlete, as, high school, college athlete. My daughter was a D1 athlete as well. And mental health, and small businesses are big players in this whole marketplace. The health and wellness sector is a $2 trillion sector in the U.S. It leads the global market in health and wellness. And small businesses, entrepreneurs are at the heart of this. And we want to make sure that when policies are being considered, that they really are the solution to MAHA and to having a transformative effect on the health and well-being of Americans.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I think it's something that a lot of people who maybe aren't involved in that sector, you just don't really think about. Admittedly, myself being one of them. So that's pretty remarkable. Speaking of the success of small businesses that you have seen, I would imagine that one of those pillars that small businesses especially have to kind of fight back against, especially in big cities, is crime. Now, I know you live a little bit outside of DC, Washington, DC. We saw just this week where President Trump has unveiled this new plan to keep Washington, DC safe. How does this impact you personally? And again, from the small business lens of America?
Well, for small businesses, this is a huge issue. I mean, the crime issue, particularly in urban areas. And the bottom line is that if urban America is to survive and do well, we need small businesses. They are the economic driver of local communities throughout our nation. And certainly that is the case in urban America. So the crime issue is huge. I mean, they need a safe environment. They need for people to feel safe, to come in, to cities and to urban areas. And unfortunately with DC, it has been a really, really challenging and difficult situation. You've seen a lot of really great restaurants actually, closing, businesses closing. First, there was the COVID wave, right, where we lost people, and obviously they didn't have the foot traffic and the individuals to support their businesses, and then crime on top of that. So, yes, this is a pillar. This is central to an ecosystem that supports small business creation and successful growth, is to have a safe environment and to have limited crime and a crime-free environment. Or businesses are not going to start up. They're going to leave. They're going to go to the suburbs or to other areas where they actually, have people and feel safe and can conduct their business.
Yeah, that's right. I was amazed to hear some of these statistics that he was rattling off in his press conference this week, saying that Washington, D.C. had a higher murder rate than, some of the worst countries like Bogota or Colombia or of course, cities in those countries. It was amazing to me to hear this. So if there's anyone that can do it, I believe it's President Trump. I think it's kind of the Trump way, is to do in one day what has taken, or I guess what DC politicians haven't done in decades. So hopefully we will see some big progress there. I kind of want to ask you about some of the relevant news surrounding the MAHA movement. I will say, I think the MAGA collab, if you will, was one of the most transformative, effective collaborations that we saw leading up, especially to the election, to bring so many people on board, so many people who care about health and wellness and fitness and the future of the next generation. I thought it was just one of the most remarkable things, and to see that everything that RFK has done prior to being confirmed since, one of those things being just this week, we saw where the HHS announced that they would terminate, I believe it was 22 mRNA vaccine development investments simply saying, look, this data, it shows that these vaccines fail to protect effectively against upper respiratory infections like COVID and the flu. This was over $500 million in funding. That's what was pulled from these contracts. He said these mRNA technology, they pose more risks than they do benefits. I want to ask you, when something like this happens, is Big Pharma really going to be sweating?
Oh, I think so. I mean, obviously, when you look at the entire innovative ecosystem, right? Which includes not only Big Pharma, but also, like every industry in this country, Riley, they are dominated by innovative small businesses. So, you do have, particularly in the biopharmaceutical industry, 85, percent of those companies have fewer than 50 employees. So, there is sort of a downstream effect on an action like that, what it means for innovation and what it means for the industry. Okay. So I think, there's obviously a lot of concern within the industry itself and, what that means for, innovation moving forward. And I think with any industry, they do want certainty, right? In terms of what are the rules? What are the regulations? What are we going to allow in terms of research and development and getting drugs to the finish line? Because it does take more than 10 years and billions and billions and billions of dollars, of R&D to get drugs over the finish line. So I think with this announcement, I think we need a what's next. I think we need, okay, what is the broader message in terms of drug R&D and in terms of, because look, there's been a lot of progress, as you know, Riley, right? When it comes to biopharmaceuticals and drugs and medical devices and the progress that we've made. Yeah, there's been a lot of disease in this country and we've been more focused on the reactive as opposed to the proactive end. And that's where I think small businesses can make a difference in terms of the transformative changes and being more proactive as opposed to addressing disease after it happens. But I do think, my hope now is that there's like, okay, what is next? Is there going to be one size fits all mandates? Are we developing a new system where we can move drugs more rapidly to market? What are going to be the checks and balances? What is the research that is going to be used? So I think these are the questions that I hear from some of the smaller innovators in the ecosystem, because this does have a downstream impact on them. And I hope we're just not throwing the baby out with the bathwater and just say, yeah, we are really committed still to innovative solutions in this whole space, because this is where America leads, and we want to continue to be the leader in innovation in this regard.
Yeah, and you mentioned being proactive. This is something that we see other countries do far better than the U.S. Obviously, I think because when you have these pharmaceutical companies or insurers or healthcare facilities or whatever it is who are able to profit off of us as Americans being sick, there's not necessarily a huge incentive to prioritize preventative measures, but certainly something that hopefully we see more from this administration. And I know last week, President Trump, I think he sent 17 letters to, 17 of the leading pharmaceutical companies, outlining steps that they must take to lower these prescription drug prices for Americans, including matching the lowest prices offered in these other developed nations, saying something to the effect of, there is no reason why American consumers should pay exorbitantly more than other countries for the same drug in the same packaging manufactured in the exact same factory. So hopefully, again, we see some sort of what's next action that will in turn benefit consumers, people who need these medications, and small businesses especially. We saw just last week where USDA Secretary Brooke Rollins, who is awesome, by the way, and RFK, they announced that states can now opt out of allowing for junk food to be purchased using SNAP benefits, meaning our tax dollars are no longer required to fund hot Cheetos and soda for those who are living on food stamps. Is that right?
Something along those lines, yes. I think, this is a huge education issue, as you know, Riley, and where where I'm very passionate about, in terms of ways that the business community, can work with organizations like schools in terms of educating youth and educating families about the importance of real food, right? And how junk food and the preservatives and everything that's put into it, how it affects development along the way, brain development, health. So I mean that's one small change, but I think there's a cultural shift and a cultural change and an opportunity for the administration to lead and take this MAHA movement to the next level in terms of education. And so that, so, and of course, policies, you're right, they're going to encourage people to be more healthy, right? Being able to use health savings accounts dollars, allowing people to use that for gym memberships or, other type of proactive, preemptive, type of care for themselves that then will lower the cost on the back end, right? I mean, lower the cost of healthcare overall. So, there's so many more policy steps that need to be taken, Riley, that we're pushing, but we're making great progress. And we saw some of those in the big, beautiful bill as well.
Yeah. Tell me more about what you're doing, what you and your crew are doing with schools and youth. I think this is incredibly important. Obviously, as someone who is not too far removed from high school, from college, I have a little sister who's still in high school. What is it that you guys are doing to encourage this in younger generations?
Well, a lot of the change is going to happen at the local level, Riley, right? I mean, we need support and we need cheerleading at the federal level. We need the right policies. I think it's going to be, hopefully the administration will get the president's Council on Physical Fitness and Health and Wellness, whatever they call it, up and running again, because I think that can have a huge impact. But we're really working on. I mean, as a local person that lives in a local community, I serve on my local Vienna Business Association and run the Health and Wellness Committee of this group. And basically, a lot is about pulling together the business community and empowering them, establishing health and wellness events in local communities, regular events, bringing in the community, having business owners, whether in the fitness space, the nutrition space, chiropractic care, be ambassadors and going out to the schools and educating, students, either in forums that are hosted by elementary schools, middle schools, or high schools. I mean, integrating these business owners in the community, they're really passionate about this. So we're developing models and events and forums that could be replicated, throughout the country, ones that have worked in the local level in several communities, and saying, look, at every chamber of commerce can put together a health and wellness committee that does X, Y, and Z, that does regular outreach to seniors, families, and most importantly, the youth, of this country, so we could have this transformative shift for the long term.
Yeah, I love this. And something that I have learned over the past few years is that grassroots efforts are so much more effective. I think, at least in terms of what you see, like pretty immediate impact, grassroots efforts are so much more effective than what we see oftentimes at a national or federal level being instituted. So I think this is incredible and something that is certainly needed. And I think you're right. I think that businesses probably for a while have been desperate to get involved in this way, but maybe haven't known how. So thank you for giving them that opportunity. But speaking of national efforts, we did just see where the president, he reinstated the presidential fitness test. This was after being, shelved for 13 years under, I believe it was the Obama administration. They said they're not going to do this anymore. President Trump said, we're bringing it back. So I think it's sit-ups. I think it's a mile run. It's pull-ups. It's the sit and reach test. There's some other components to it. What are your thoughts here on seeing both middle schools and high schools reinstate this back into their curriculum?
I think it's a great idea. And I survived the presidential physical fitness test.
Right.
I mean, of course, we saw, the response of some of the people who've had the trauma, of this test, but it was all good. I mean, movement is so important, right? And we need to hold kids to high standards or to some type of standards, right? And I think this is a really, really good idea to instill the importance of fitness. I mean, I'd love to see the gym class come back. I mean, I had that all through high school and had a great education to boot. So it didn't get in the way, of other classes or math or science or some of the other important, classes that we have. But I think it's just a really good idea. Movement, physical fitness, again, is one of the core, most important things that needs to be instilled in children, and that needs to continue over the lifetime if individuals are going to have a healthy life and a healthy lifespan. So I'm 100% for it. I think it's great. I think it's wonderful, and I think the kids are going to enjoy it. I think it's going to be fun. You make it fun, right?
Totally. We did this in school. Obviously, it wasn't, I guess at the time, being federally required to do it, but we still did it. And I will never forget, there was this girl who was a gymnast who was in my grade, and she could knock out some pull-ups. And I will never forget, to this day, I remember her name. I told myself, I'm not going to let her do more pull-ups than me. Like, it brought out this ultra competitive side of me that still to this day, now many years later, I still remember. So I think it's awesome too. What's next for you guys? What are kind of some of the bigger things you're working on as it pertains to entrepreneurship, which I believe is really able to thrive under this administration, especially small businesses, or I guess all in conjunction with the MAHA movement?
Well, I think the big thing is the implementation and execution around the One Big Beautiful Bill. And we're doing a lot of education right now across the country on what was in it and how it benefits small businesses. Obviously, permanency in terms of many of the tax provisions, the 20% small business deduction, immediate expensing of research and development. This is huge, Riley, in terms of this being restored and being made permanent. This is going to have a massive impact on innovation in this country, our innovative global competitiveness. The next sort of industries, right? I mean, we're seeing how AI is taking hold and having a transformative effect. So we're pushing the administration to look at, we need some clear guidance around these rules so that small businesses and entrepreneurs take advantage of them, because there's immediate advantages that they can have this year. There are some things that were left out of the Big Beautiful Bill that we're going to continue to push on the healthcare front that we think align with everything that the president wants to accomplish on MAHA. And again, it all involves healthcare policy, healthcare reform, transparency in terms of healthcare pricing, pharmaceutical pricing, again, with health savings accounts, allowing individuals and families to use them for, more, proactive, type of healthcare needs. Pushing hard on the telehealth front in terms of access to broadband, quality broadband, innovation in that whole space. And then just generally entrepreneurship. Riley, more and more people want to start businesses, right? And they just need an environment that supports them on the tax and regulatory side. So there's a lot of regulatory baggage from the last administration, right? A lot that we're unwinding and working to get rid of right now, because it was very harmful to self-employment, entrepreneurship, and people growing businesses. So we're cleaning out, a lot of that that regulatory garbage and really trying to instill reforms for the long term that are going to lock in a lot of the gains and the vision that President Trump has for MAGA, and it all begins with strengthening entrepreneurship and small businesses in this country because they're the heart and soul of our economy.
Yeah, and it's a perk of having a businessman as president, as he is someone who has been able to benefit from these things. So really, really important stuff. Again, especially on the education piece of the Big Beautiful Bill. Obviously, when you have something so comprehensive and so holistic, there's a lot that gets lost in the weeds. So thank you for being willing to educate both small business owners or those affiliated with small businesses and entrepreneurs. But I think more broadly, the public. I listen to you say the things that you're saying, and I'm like, who could be opposed to any of these things? Like, I can't believe there's an entire political party that opposes things that, again, you would imagine 90%, if not more, of Americans would be able to fully get behind. So thank you very much.
100%, Riley. And it's more than just tax stuff, too. It had air traffic control improvements, energy affordability, so broad, in terms of, the positive impact that it's going to have on the economy and people's lives in general. And you're right. It should have been a bipartisan effort.
It's not how they like to work nowadays. Unfortunately, I mean, you've seen it. We've all seen it, but you especially, and especially in your world where these are things that should be bipartisan, right? You can argue some of the other stuff, whether it's maybe more the cultural stuff. Okay, sure, there's always been disagreements there on how people govern in that way, but these things, again, that just make it easier for Americans to live their lives and to succeed and to thrive should certainly be more bipartisan. So thank you for leading that effort and making it as such. We really are grateful for you.
Well, thank you, Riley. I enjoyed. And if more people want to learn about us, they can sign up for our Small Business Insider newsletter for free, sbecouncil.org. Sign up for Small Business Insider if you want to start and grow a business. Great resources for doing that. And we keep you up to date on all the policy initiatives that we are working on in the nation's capital, across the U.S. and across the globe to promote entrepreneurship and to protect small business. Fantastic.
So sbecouncil.org. I would encourage every single person, old, young, man, woman, it doesn't matter, any identity factor. I would encourage every person to do this. I think especially young people, actually, because I'll speak pretty authentically. We don't learn a lot about this stuff in school. And now I'm at the point in my life, being 25 years old, where you need to know these things. Whether you have a small business of your own or not, being informed in that way, it will never be to your detriment. So sbecouncil.org. I encourage everyone to go check that out. So thank you very, very much, Karen.
Thank you, Riley.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Again, go to sbecouncil.org. Check out what Karen's got going on over there. Really, really important stuff. And I think things that could really make a difference in your everyday life. So sbecouncil.org, go to youtube.com/OutKick. That's where you'll find all Gains for Girls episodes. If you missed an episode over the past few weeks, you can go back and watch it there. You can subscribe so you don't miss next week's episode. And I want you guys to go to cozyearth.com. You can use my code GAINS, GAINES, for 40% off. 40% off is no joke. Appreciate you guys. We plan on this podcast going, hopefully, until I'm ready to stop for baby girl's birth, but I still feel fantastic. And listening to Karen, actually, she was talking about how your health and your fitness and how it can really set you up for a bright future. I will say, I believe that being healthy, maintaining my fitness prior to pregnancy and during pregnancy, I have had the best pregnancy ever. I just told my husband, I'm like, I could do this over and over and over again. I feel awesome, which probably terrifies him. So hopefully that is a testament to getting out there, staying active, we think this podcast will go all the way up until the day she's born. That's how good I feel. We will see you guys again next week.